WoW is doomed if this doesn't change. I wonder what he's talking about. Here we go.
It simply doesn't make sense for your average WoW player to waste their time actually playing the game anymore. It's gotten to the point where it's just common sense to buy gold. It's become common sense to not play the game, because playing the game is now a stupid waste of your precious time. With real money transactions and the various services that you can now purchase with gold, you can now measure the...
This part is absolutely fucking true. Yeah, this part is abso-fucking-lutely true. Oh my god, it is true. So here's the thing. Like, this is the way it was in Burning Crusade, right? It's not common sense to buy gold? It absolutely is. What do you mean? It's 100% common sense. As soon as you realize what the value to time ratio is, you immediately start buying gold. Oh, that's not true? Then why is boosting so bad in retail WoW? Look, think about it like this. This is how people played Burning Crusade. They bought the boost to 58. They bought slave pin carries to 70. They bought gold to buy BOEs. And then they bought gold to join a GDKP. And then they bought gear into GDKP with the gold. And then after they bought the gear, then they had to buy more gold to buy enchants on the gear. And then they had to buy more gold to buy gems on the gear. And then finally, they had their full character and it was finally geared. And then they quit the game. Yes, I absolutely think that happens. 100%.
Value of your playtime in dollars per hour. And since WoW players typically try to do things in the most...
There it is, boys. Dual wielding credit cards always gets a huge cut in GDKP. Only raid logs, 99 parses. You're goddamn fucking right, boys.
Most efficient way possible, it's only a matter of time before one starts calculating this figure in their head. The value of playing the game has gone down with every passing day as rampant, unmitigated botting injects more and more gold into our already broken economy.
Well, the problem is that there is like a value proposition. There's a value proposition where you can spend $20 and save 20 hours. So for anybody who has a job or has disposable income, they will spend the $20 to save the 20 hours because they view the 20 hours that they would spend as lesser gameplay. Like, players now, and this is just like a general sense in all games, and this is because of YouTube videos, streaming, and just like as games have gone over, like the fact that people can talk about things and just like figure out better ideas, players are way more goal-oriented now than they used to be.
Leaves us in a situation where nobody wants to flip burgers in Ogre Law for $2 an hour when they can just RMT and use that time to do literally anything else.
Same, but except with crypto. Exactly. That's the same as in real life, right? It's the exact same thing. People will always go with what they believe is the path of least resistance. It's common sense. Can't enjoy a game for what it is then? That's why you don't introduce these systems. Is because I think that if you could have done this back in the day, it would have happened. I think that the only reason why it didn't happen back then is that it was much less known and it was more risky.
Time that you spend in the game isn't supposed to have a monetary value tied to it. Playing WoW is supposed to be an escape from the real world. It's supposed to be something you do for the enjoyment of it, where the time that you spend playing and mastering the game is what makes your character powerful, not the size of your bank account. There are a few things at play here. Rapid inflation, the removal of the stigma around participating in real money transactions, and the increasing ease and safety of buying gold have inexorably led to money and gameplay becoming intertwined. Everything...
This is totally right. Like, the other video, whatever, right? This is 100% fucking real. I totally fucking agree with this. Absolutely. Yeah, very true. Yeah, 100%. Like, the inflation is bad because people farm raw gold. And like, the thing is, a lot of characters that are bots, many of what they do, and like, this isn't all of them, but I know, like, friends of mine that have botted, like, they farm raw gold. And farming raw gold is actually really, really bad because the more raw gold that's injected into the economy, well, it's fucking, guys, it's inflation. Everybody knows this, right? And so if you're injecting materials, it's like not necessarily as bad, but the gold itself is very bad. And no consequences is also a big thing, right? You RMT 20,000 gold, you get banned for 3 days, you come back, the gold's still there. Hey, how about that? It's pretty good.
You do has a dollar price tag from the very moment that you first log on to a fresh character. Why would you waste your time leveling when you can just buy experience boosts and level faster than you could ever possibly hope to on your own? I mean, everyone else is doing it, right? This is a sad fact that becomes exceedingly clear as you walk around the vast, dead, empty realm that supposedly houses 30,000 other players in it. You begin to wonder, why should I even bother putting in the effort leveling this character legitimately if nobody else is? I think a lot of us knows what this feels like. Doing all those quests is time-consuming, and we've all done it before. Knowing
that's why. It's because people don't want to do the same quests again. They've already done these before. Why do it again? Yeah, because you enjoy it? Well, yeah, you enjoyed it the first time. Like, you don't want to do it again.
There exists an option to fast
That's
forward
what I think
through
happens.
it all. Makes doing it by hand feel like a waste of time.
It is.
Boosting and RMT and botting problems are not new issues and have always existed in the game to some degree. But it's
absolutely. But like a lot of people play Burning Crusade and they play Classic WoW. It's gonna be the same thing with Wrath. Most people are playing Wrath because they want a PvP and they want a raid. If there was a button that they could press that says the button is make me level 80, I think that like 95% of the player base of Wrath and Burning Crusade would push that button. They'd smash it.
Completely out of scale. Let me show you. If you want an idea for how bad inflation has gotten, 1,000 gold 1 year ago was worth $53 in what was already considered a broken economy. Today, you can buy the same amount for $7. And this is more or less what you can expect to spend on a piece of tier loot in a GDKP. Think of the amount of work that would normally go into getting a piece of tier on a fresh character. I mean, first you'd have to progress through normals and then...
Bro, like, we should buy some gold. That's cheap as hell. Oh my god. So you just, bro, like any GDK peers? Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, we'll buy gold on stream. It's crazy. Hope Blizzard does WoW tokens for Wrath of the Lich King. I mean, they kind of already did.
Heroics for Prebis, and then join a Kara guild and get some T4, then move on to T5 and learn the fights. And I mean, all of this can be undermined just by joining a GDKP the same day you hit level 70 and spending $7 worth of gold. The craziest part about gold being this cheap is that all the quests and vendorable items are still giving the same amount of gold as they were before.
Right. So it's like a comparative deflation, or sorry, it's a comparative inflation of lower level players, because like a casual player might not buy gold, but they're doing dailies. So their purchasing power goes down while high-end players' purchasing power goes up. Because a lot of what low-end players do is they farm things like raw gold, and they farm things like dailies and stuff like this.
They don't adjust based on inflation. Their value just decreases. So it's not surprising that people feel less motivated to go out and play the game when you know that doing a quest at level 70 will reward you with about 7 cents of gold for your effort. The ends...
Bro, like back in the day in BC, I remember we would do dailies after raid. Like, we would get in a 5-man group after raid and do dailies together because it would give you like 80 or 100 gold or something like that, and you just do it every day. That's literally what's happening in life right now, haha. Learn about and acquire as much Bitcoin as you can. I wish you all the luck in the world. Yep, you've got a bright future ahead of yourself. It's as bright as if you made a pile of money and you lit it on fire. Burning very bright. Go ahead.
No longer justify the means. Every time a player completes a quest or loots the silver off of a mob or sells an item, they inject new money into the economy, which increases the supply and effectively reduces the value of every other gold piece in the game by some small amount. This is the supply off of a mob. No longer justify the means. Every time a player completes a quest or loots the silver off of a mob or sells an item, they inject new money into the economy, which increases the supply and effectively reduces the value of every other gold piece in the game by some small...
That's the way the numbers work. This is actually a true and real statement. Talzod, 5 subs, thanks.
Amount. This is typically mitigated by in-game gold sinks like repair costs or epic flying or those expensive bags in Shattrath, which remove large amounts of gold from circulation and keeps gold scarce and valuable. The problem is that bots have been farming raw gold unabated for years, so the value of the gold that you get from completing a quest in 2022 is worth a fraction of what it used to be in 2008. To give perspective, a woman literally sold her body for epic flying in 2007.
Epic mount for an epic mount. Oh my fucking god, I remember this. I remember thinking, like, I was like 17 then. I'm like, man, women have it so easy. Man, I wish I was a girl. This sucks, man. And then, like, dude, I was so mad, man. Yeah, bro, I was getting red pilled. And like, you know how I paid for my epic flying? I didn't know this. I went back into screenshots and I looked for myself. My mom lended me the money. Yeah, she lended me like 2,000 gold because I couldn't afford it. And then Zach McLeavy, she just bought his epic flying outright.
The price of gold back then was about $72 for 1,000, which, adjusting for IRL inflation, epic flying would have cost about $500 in today's money through RMT, which is the price of a pretty decent escort. I mean, not a bad deal, good for her, but
I don't know.
If the gold economy at the time were the same as it is today, it would have only cost her $30 to just buy the gold instead.
Yeah.
And maybe you can start to see the problem here.
So it's either $500 or $37. Yeah, that's it. Like, I had no idea. Like, that's nuts. You definitely could have done the same. Your bios just went different. I never did this shit. Like, Viscous just with the 5 good subs. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Escorts got you. I have no idea. Like, I've never done any. I've never been to a strip club. I've never done any of that weird shit. Like, I'm not about that.
So not only has gold become cheaper than ever,
OnlyFans.
but real money transactions are now perceived as commonplace and acceptable. And on top of that, gold sellers and
I mean,
money transactions are now perceived as commonplace and acceptable.
I feel like everybody pretty much thinks that buying gold is bad. Yeah, what do you, like, yeah, I feel like most people think that it's bad. Not anymore. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, you can say, like, I think that if he's making a statement, he's talking about, like, gaming in general, right? You're talking about gaming in general. Yes, you're totally right about that. With WoW, I still do think that buying gold is looked down on. But it's like one of those things where everybody does it, but they all pretend like they don't do it.
And on top of that, gold sellers and buyers have figured out how to avoid getting detected. When the stigma around buying gold is gone, when gold is easier to afford than ever, when it's easy to avoid being caught, and when everyone else is doing it, it's hard to feel good about going out and doing your dailies when you know your hard work is worth only about $2 an hour. And
exactly. That is exactly what it is. Is that why the fuck would you go out and bust your ass whenever you could just work a couple of hours at your job and you're going to get your tier set no problem? That's all there is to it.
Downstream effects of this have been massive. And that brings me to GDKPs. See, they and of themselves aren't the real issue here. It really doesn't affect me if the top 1% of the server swings their giant golden cocks around at each other. The problem—
I agree with that. As I said, I've always been very pro GDKP. I think GDKP is fine.
Is when it became the way to gear up. Even for a new player who just hit 70, the vast majority of the gold being traded in these GDKPs wasn't acquired through working the auction house or farming. It's been acquired through illicit means. People are going to G2G and buying it, and anyone who pretends otherwise is absolutely delusional. The fresh 7—
Of course they're buying gold. Why would you not buy gold? It makes no sense to not buy gold.
70 pure buyer in your raid did not come up with 45,000 gold while they were doing quests in Nagrind. See, the people playing this game generally have a little disposable income. They're likely in their late 20s or early 30s, they're playing on a modern gaming PC with broadband internet, and they can afford a $15 a month subscription fee. Odds are—
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, a lot of guys, like, you're 28, it's like if you're playing Burning Crusade, the odds are you are at least 28. You probably are either married or you don't have a girlfriend. It's probably one or the other. So if that happens, big fucking surprise, this is not going to be a big deal for you to spend $100 on gold. It's nothing. It's whatever. Yeah, like, I mean, that's what it is. Yeah, exactly. Myself included, I'd rather spend 1 hour working overtime than grind some boring ass dungeon for 10 hours for the same value. If it's time equals money, and most people want to spend time pushing keys, etc. Yeah, exactly. And like, that's just what people are gonna do. And that's why the WoW token is bad, is that it itemizes every investment in the game, and it creates a frame of reference that every time investment in the game is built off of. So, like, if you know that you can spend an hour farming and get this much gold, like, there's, like, no gold farming guides in WoW anymore. The gold farming guide is get a job.
Very good. They have a few extra dollars laying around to spend on microtransactions. Blizzard knows this, and that's why they put a store in retail. So the general common sense advice to a new player just hitting 70 has become, go buy some gold. The increased demand for all this gold comes from GDKPs. This is a problem that feeds into itself and will only get worse over time, because the demand for gold will only increase as more and more people use GDKPs as their main source of raiding, and that means more—
I think that people were doing this even before then. I think the reason why it happens is because Blizzard doesn't enforce their TOS. Is that if I wasn't doing a GDKP, you know what I would do? I would pay other people to join a raid with me and then roll on gear that I want and then pay them to trade it to me. I used to do that. Yeah, I used to do that. Like, that's the thing, is you always find a way. There's always going to be a way that people are going to figure out. If you get rid of GDKPs, then people just play it in a different way. They say it in a different way. The problem is Blizzard doesn't enforce their rules. And if Blizzard doesn't enforce their rules, that's a bigger issue than anything else.
Spotting more real money transactions and more inflation.
Exactly.
It will only continue to grow because people want their loot and they want it now. And somehow, WoW players think this is okay because the shop they're buying from isn't located directly inside of the game, and the money isn't going directly to Blizzard. Well, it's still going to Blizzard, though. All those botters
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I've never heard somebody say that it's okay to buy gold, but the WoW shop is bad. I feel like most people that buy gold, they're like, yeah, it's bad, but it's really cheap, so I'm buying it. I feel like that's what people do more than anything. Yeah, I mean, abso-fucking-lutely.
Paying customers too. But imagine if when Blizzard had announced WoW Classic, they also announced it was going to have a WoW token and a pay-to-win shop where you can buy tier sets and warglaives and mounts.
Yes.
How outraged would everyone have been at this idea? And do you realize this is the current state of the game that we're all playing right now?
That's a very good point. That's actually a very, very good point. Is that the one thing that players didn't want in Classic WoW, which is being able to buy gold, is in Classic WoW. Right now. Yes, that's a very good point.
Same people who lambast Lost Ark for being a pay-to-win game are the same people who are spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars on botted gold to throw around in GDKPs. The hypocrisy is astounding. And the
absolutely, right? And like, that's the thing. Like, I've said this before, is that WoW is pay-to-win. Lost Ark is pay-to-win. They are both pay-to-win. Now, I would argue that to an extent, Burning Crusade is not really pay to win, because it's like, I only view something as pay to win if whenever you do the thing where you pay to win, it is not against the rules. So if you have to break the rules to pay to win, then it's not pay to win, because at that point, anything's pay to win, everything's pay to win. It means nothing. So like, the difference though is that with Burning Crusade, nobody gets banned. Nobody gets in trouble. So, like, is it really not pay to win? I feel like it kind of is. Yeah, are there really rules if they don't enforce them? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because they don't enforce it. There you go. It's a lot more nuanced than people think. Lamau buying indulgences in early Catholic Church. Yeah, that's right. There you go. If people are breaking the rules without consequences in mass, yeah, are the rules really there at all? So, like, yeah, it's hard to, it's like, technically I would say it's not, but like, I mean, effectively it is.
The absolute worst part of it is that it's eroded away the social fabric of the game that we love. The very thing that drew you into MMOs in the first place was collectively traded for an antisocial convenience. The supply of players looking for a guild to do progression has dried up completely. It's really a tough sell trying to recruit people into a progression guild with scheduled raid times when any time of the day, any day of the week, they can just jump into a GDKP and get whatever gear they want whenever they want it. And most of the better—
it's also like there's no rule that says it has to be a GDKP. Like, you could very easily just do a raid and have people roll on gear. You guys remember that back in the old days where you'd go and you'd go and you roll on the gear and the item would drop and you'd roll on it. And there's a roll for the gear and the guy that gets the highest roll would get the gear. You know, no money involved. Yeah, nobody does that though. Why? Why? And this is the thing, right? Is like, if everybody hates GDKPs, then why is nobody not doing GDKPs? I don't know.
Players are trying to gear up in the most efficient way possible, so even if you tried making a guild, you're not really left with much to pick from. It's all a mad race to the top. And for what? to pump, to parse, to do big damage with your ill-gotten RMT gear. So what? So you can clear raids as efficiently as possible, to amass huge piles of gold from carrying noobs? We're all caught up in this pointless rat race, but is it even what we really want to be doing? I don't know about the rest of you, but when I was feeling nostalgia for Classic, when I was thinking about how great it would be to go back and re-experience the magic, I wasn't dreaming about speedrunning and GDKPs. But I digress.
I feel like a lot of people were, like, as I said, I am completely good with GDKPs. I am completely good with speedrunning. I think it's all well and good. It's a great thing. I enjoyed it. I even watched speedruns back before Classic came out with like Progress and like a lot of the I think Salad Bakers and Apes, like a lot of their old videos. I thought these were fucking great. But what I think with speedrunning, yeah, exactly. And so all of those things are totally fine. I just don't like buying gold.
So how do we fix this broken economy? Well, there are a few solutions. The simplest one is just to pay some damn GMs. I mean, Blizzard stands to gain a lot more from the game being in a good state than they would ever lose out on from paying the salary of a few customer service employees. But since that's not going to happen, well, why not just inflate the gold values in the game, like times 100? I mean, instead of getting 10 gold from a quest, you get 1,000. And like, instead of paying 5K,
why don't they do this in real life? Yeah, they should just do this shit in real life. Hell yeah. Like, instead of getting paid like $15 an hour, I get paid $150 an hour. Problem solved. Everybody's gonna be fucking rich.
Flying, it's now 500k. This would severely decrease the value of the piles of gold that suppliers are hoarding, and it would make going out and farming the best way to make money again. I think that
what they should do is they should add very, very large gold sinks in the game that don't really have a lot of competitive value. Things like really big bags. Like something that it costs like 50,000 gold in Wrath of the Lich King, and you buy this like an auction, like a mount that has an auction house on it or something like that. Like I think that's what they should do to remove the gold from the economy. I don't like the idea of like making everyday costs more expensive because I think it does hurt casual players. But I do think that overall it'd be okay. Like if they added the costs that were only affecting like high-end players.
It's a little more friendly than a straight-up gold reset because you're technically not taking the money away from players, you're just adjusting for inflation. The downside is that people who have a lot of legit gold would be getting shafted pretty hard.
They do.
But what other options are there? Well, the best thing I can think of is for them to just launch fresh servers. Give people the choice to start over from level 1 in a pristine economy, or let them stay on their dumpster fire real money transaction servers if they want.
As if there's gonna be no bots on the fresh servers. Like, if I was a botter, where would I go? I would go to the fresh servers. Because that's where people need the fucking money. Yeah, you're going to have way, way more bots on the fresh servers. Because you stand to sell the gold for more money. It's common sense.
Want to. At least give us the option. And while you're at it, enable these same anti-botting and anti-boosting measures that you have on Season of Mastery. You'd obviously have to close off transfers from existing servers onto the fresh ones to prevent the piles of dirty money from crashing the new economy. And it would probably be ideal if they turned off boosts on those servers for a while too. Level boosts are how botters—
They actually did do that. Yeah, they did do that. I don't think they did the level boosting though. Or sorry, they did the payable level boost, but they didn't do the boosting like the dungeon boosting thing.
Are able to farm so efficiently and make so much money despite the ban waves. Most of us would love to see them gone, but we know that'll never happen, so we have to think a little bit more realistically. Well, how about if Blizzard does nothing? Is there really no hope for the game? Will things ever go back to play to win instead of pay to win?
No.
Well, I've thought of a final solution,
and
that's why I'm taking matters into my own hands.
Good.
If Blizzard does nothing, then I'll be left with no choice but to— just kidding. If Blizzard does nothing, then it's truly up to us to create the game that we want to play. That's why I'm here to announce a very special guild that I'll be leading for Wrath Classic. The goal here is to create a community of players who choose to play the game the way it's meant to be played. So we're not only not participating in GDKPs, but we're also going into the raids completely blind. Yes, no DBM, no guides, completely blind. These raids are filled with awesome, fun puzzles to solve with your friends, but since WoW players tend to optimize the fun out of everything, this aspect of the game has been completely invalidated by the ubiquity of strategy videos and guides available on the internet. So we're just—
I feel like for me, I would not want to do that because I feel like there's always, like, everybody has like a different definition of like what's blind and what's not blind. And I remember like this happened whenever I was playing Dark Souls, and it's like some people viewed reading chat as like, you know, taking hints. And it's like you're just going to hear things, you're just going to be told things, etc. And like it's weird whenever you see it's like, oh, hit the tail, and then you know to hit the tail because somebody said that, but you're like, oh, I'm not supposed to hit the tail because I didn't learn that in the game. It's a weird thing, right? And so, yeah, I remember that happened for me a lot whenever I did Dark Souls. So it's hard to tell, like, what's really blind or not. This reminds me a lot of Project 70. Remember all the arguments for that? Mental gymnastics trying to replay a 14-year-old game is a brand new fun. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's a lot of gymnastics to try to do this. And I think that a lot of people won't do it authentically.
Not going to use them. These modern conveniences have robbed the game of one of the most interesting aspects of raiding, working together as a team, devising strategies to overcome difficult challenges. So screw DBM, we're going to forge our own glorious path from Naxxramas to ICC. We're going to recapture that old school community feeling by shunning these conveniences and choosing to do things the hard way. Why would someone want to do this, you might ask? Well, think of it like hunting. Sure, you could go to the grocery store and buy some chicken and ground beef, but does it feel the same as camping out in the woods and tracking down a deer? Of course
Blow
not.
up the chicken.
The thrill of the hunt and the opportunity to be immersed in nature with all of its beauty are rewarding experiences in and of themselves. There's a reason why people go hunting for food despite the fact that there's a McDonald's or a Burger King on every street, because the feeling of earning it offers a far deeper sense of appreciation. I'm going to release another video soon with more details.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Like, being able to like actually accomplish it yourself is absolutely a better thing. Like, I think it's a good thing too, for sure. Now, it's hard to, as I said, I think it's very hard to determine, like, where it's like you tell people, oh, it has to be blind. Like, what does that really mean? It's hard to tell. But I do think that the idea is okay.
About the guild. So
sure.
If you're someone who wants to experience Wrath the way it was meant to be played, join my Discord and sign up here, and there'll be more details inside. Anyway, that's my rant. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and at the end of the day, I don't blame anyone for the state of the game. It's just human nature, and
Yeah,
people will
it
always
is.
tend to move toward the path of least resistance. I'm not here to tell you how to play. Do whatever makes you happy, and after all, the reason why the game is in the state that it's in is because a lot of people seem to like it. I just wish Blizzard
Yeah.
would step in and do something for those of us who don't. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.
I think that what they really need to do is they need to ban the people that are buying gold. Like, they need to ban the fucking people that are buying gold. It's that easy. It's not that complicated. It's not this, like, elaborate fucking tapestry that can't be unraveled by a mortal mind. It's just that if there are people buying gold, then you suspend them for 6 months. That's it. Problem solved.